Hello, hello. How's it going, Will?
Hey, going well. How are you doing?
Pretty good. It's a great day outside. It's warm outside. It's summer. Yeah, really excited to have you here, Will, with us today. I know there's tons of stuff that you guys have been doing, and really excited to dive into everything that you guys are building here. So yeah, my name is Chiro. I am the community manager here at Optional Labs, also an Arbitrum contributor. And yeah, super happy to be here. And also to the community, thank you guys for joining us today. But yeah, we have Will with us from Matcha. And yeah, Will, do you want to kick us off with an introduction about yourself and how you got started with Matcha?
Yeah, happily. Yeah, first off, appreciate you having me. I know our Arbitrum ecosystem has a lot going on, and we're excited to be a part of it and to get to share what we're working on with the community. Yeah, so my name is Will. I'm co-founder of ZeroX and Matcha. ZeroX is building decentralized exchange infrastructure for developers. If you've used a wallet like MetaMask or Coinbase Wallet or Phantom, Ravi, or many others, you've probably used ZeroX without knowing it. And we have built a consumer product, a DEX aggregator called Matcha, on top of these developer APIs. And we support around 12 different DEXs on the Arbitrum One network. And we have support for every single ERC20 token that is deployed on the Arbitrum One network. And so if there is a token that you're interested in that's on Arbitrum, you'll find it on Matcha. You'll be able to find the best price as well. In terms of how we started building Matcha, well, yeah. So again, we started working on ZeroX around 8 years ago. My co-founder Amir and I, and at that time we were focused on purely the smart contract infrastructure layer, and we were building ZeroX protocol, which is uh, it was actually the first decentralized exchange protocol on within the Ethereum ecosystem, and we were focused on really just building like the settlement smart contracts and a way of creating and representing orders off chain. And these off chain orders could be used to create something in the form of like an off chain order book or an RFQ system, or could even be used purely peer to peer to trade with someone you know directly. And as time went on, we kind of started working further and further up the stack to build the tools that were needed to build world-class swap experience. And this meant that we, started out building the smart contract settlement layer, started building a DEX aggregation API on top of that smart contract settlement layer, which kind of looks and acts just like any other API that a developer might. And then finally, we built Matcha, a consumer product on top of those APIs in order to help us, improve everything that we've been building, and also to better understand exactly what it is that users would need to access tokens and liquidity. So that's a little bit of background. And, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome. Yeah, so you guys have been around since 2016, right? Or around that before the 2017-18 bull market, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Amir and I met in San Francisco in October. We officially started working on ZeroX together in October of 2016.
Wow, that's crazy. That's a long time. um, yeah, and I think the interesting story about that is this was all before DeFi summer back in 2020. And I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on the role of OX. Was there a change in direction? Like after DeFi summer, or yeah, I think it'd be interesting to hear that, direction, before DeFi summer and after DeFi summer.
Yeah, happily. So DeFi Summer was an interesting turning point in the Ethereum ecosystem. Um, AMMs like Uniswap had been around for about a year or so at that point, and you know, they were getting some usage, but the amount of liquidity that they had on offer was still relatively tiny. There just wasn't that much capital that people were parking in AMM pools. And with DeFi Summer, really was kicked off by Compound and kind of the yield farming craze, um, where Compound would kind of add additional interest if you were either uh, providing or borrowing from the Compound lending pool, and they were kind of subsidizing it with Compound tokens. This model was also adapted to automated market makers like Uniswap. And so now people had a massive financial incentive to provide liquidity and serve as an LP. And as a result, we saw, hundreds of millions of dollars flow into these liquidity pools like Uniswap. And this is what really, really kicked off, uh, what I see as kind of decentralized exchanges starting to trend towards surpassing centralized exchanges and kind of becoming the default place where trading activity occurs. And for 0x, during DeFi summer, uh, as more and more capital flowed into these liquidity pools, uh, the amount of MEV that was being extracted from people trading on Uniswap also exploded in size. And it wasn't too long after DeFi summer started that over $1 billion had been extracted from people trading through AMMs, through MEV and sandwich attacks. And it was at this point that the broader ecosystem became aware of MEV, and it kind of became a more kind of common topic of knowledge. And so, MEV was something that we had been aware of. We'd been kind of designing around it for many years, but it really wasn't until DeFi summer kicked off, tons of capital flowed into these AMM pools, and then tons of MEV was extracted, that it kind of became a more widespread, a well understood issue. And so for 0x, this was an interesting time because it really validated the decentralized exchange design that we had been investing in for a while, which is RFQ. So RFQ is a request for quote system. And you essentially say, hey, I'm looking to complete a trade of this size. And a bunch of professional market makers will respond to that request with a quote, offering the very best price that they're willing to offer. And this quote is locked in. So what you see is exactly what you get. And there's no option for a sandwich attack or an MEV bot to come in and extract money from you as a trader. And so with DeFi Summer, MEV exploded. It became a really serious issue that was causing hundreds of millions of dollars in damage to traders. And that was like the perfect opportunity for RFQ to really show its strength as a MEV proof X model. And in terms of what changed through DeFi Summer, a shift towards MEV resistant or MEV proof DEX models was one of the big things.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. And also, I think another thing that came out of DeFi summer was obviously there are tons of like DEXs out there that were born like all over Ethereum. Also, across other chains as well, right? Like BNB, that was also pretty popular as well. And that's where the picture of aggregators come into play, right? Because as a user, right, um, you know, swapping from going from one chain to another is a lot of work for a user, right? And so yeah, that's where I believe matcha comes in play, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, so yeah, you're exactly right. During DeFi summer, not only did tons of capital flow into the DeFi space, but there was a lot of fragmentation of liquidity across different competing decentralized exchanges, as well as different competing blockchains as well. So yeah, be it BNB was an alternative layer one, um, and so this posed a problem for users. They would have to, depending upon what they were looking to trade, they would have to go and open up a bunch of different tabs and compare pricing across all of these different decentralized exchanges. It was time consuming. It was not efficient from a market perspective. And so it created this need for aggregation or combining the liquidity from a bunch of different decentralized exchanges that exist in parallel and doing it in a way that gets you the best average price. And so, yeah, in 2020, that was around the time that decentralized exchange aggregation started to get some momentum, and we started building our trading APIs, so 0x swap API around that time, and it's yeah, actually we just launched the newest version of swap API just earlier this week within Matcha, and it supports yeah hundreds of different liquidity sources again, like around 12 different liquidity sources on Arbitrum. I think 99% of all liquidity that exists on Arbitrum, you're tapping into it automatically with 0x swap API. And yeah, you know, aggregation has really become our bread and butter over the last years, and we just rebuilt our routing engine from the ground up. So yeah, if you're trading on Arbitrum, Matcha and our developer APIs for 0x are going to get you the very best possible price for you know, almost any token on Arbitrum uh, for small trades and especially all the way up to really large trades. So trades that are $1 million plus. It's going to be hard to find anywhere that kind of provides a better price.
Yeah, no, I believe that. Even myself, like back in 2020 around DeFi summer, I also used matcha as well to swap some tokens here and there across Uniswap and other dexes only because obviously the slippage from a DEX, right? It's different from each other. So yeah, you guys really came in clutch at that time, and still, are doing an amazing job on that front. So yeah, congrats to you guys.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. Well, we love Arbitrum, and yeah, we have deployed the 0x RFQ system on Arbitrum. So yeah, when you use Matcha, you're not only getting kind of all the publicly accessible on-chain liquidity, but you're also weaving that together with professional market maker liquidity that's only available through our APIs. So yeah, we're really excited to support the Arbitrum ecosystem. Uh, we see all the momentum, and yeah, we really really want to yeah become a staple.
Yeah, I remember back in 21. So like after DeFi summer, right, the following year. Or was it 2022? I don't remember, either 2021 or 2022, where you had the all-time high in terms of, like, there was so much excitement around NFTs, right? And around that time as well, right, you had people paying like over $200 in gas on Ethereum, which was like, back then it was normal, right, for people to pay that amount. Like, people were willing to pay like $400. I even seen people pay like $1,000 worth of gas to get their transactions up front and through. Um, and that's where the picture of L2s came into play, right? As a solution for Ethereum scaling, right? And I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on that. But um, was that the time when you guys uh, noticed that, hey, like maybe we should enable support for L2s such as Arbitrum?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So Ethereum had such strong product market fit, and there was so much demand for block space. It pushed up the price to, yeah, as you mentioned, like hundreds of dollars, maybe, even like thousands of dollars just to send a single transaction to the network. And this is like a good thing, right? Because it shows that Ethereum was providing so much utility and value to people that they were willing to pay this insane amount of money. But it also priced out all of the interesting, real world use cases that are important and make blockchain technology meaningful. So being able to do cross-border payments and to create like a globally accessible financial system, these are the types of things that require really low transaction fees and scalability. And so at the same, on one hand, Ethereum was getting strong product market fit. It was a great, sign that we were building the right things. But at the same time, it was pricing out all these important use cases that really are unlocked by blockchain technology. So that was exactly the time when we began expanding beyond Ethereum mainnet and supporting alternative like layer twos. Yeah, I mean, it's great. It wasn't really clear how scalability was going to play out for a number of years. I remember back in the day, people were talking about like plasma chains and kind of a whole kind of a tree of different evolutionary explorations done, branching out from plasma chains, and we ended up with yeah, optimistic layer twos and uh, pretty insane to see the technology working and to see it driving adoption and more users. So yeah, it's a pretty exciting time. I feel pretty proud of the space as a whole in terms of where it's gotten.
Yeah, I think it started out with Polygon. I think they were the first L2. Well, they're an L2, but they're a side chain, right? So it started out with them, for offering like low fees, fast transactions. And then after Polygon, I believe it was Optimism, and then Arbitrum came into the picture back in August of 2021. That's when Arbitrum went mainnet. So yeah, no, it's crazy to see how far we've come as like an L2 ecosystem. And now, you've seen like the amount of ETH bridged across into L2s, especially Arbitrum, it's pretty high and it's up to the right, pretty much. If you look at the metrics, so I mean, it's awesome seeing that that users are starting to come over to Arbitrum and as well as other L2s to have a better user experience because even still today, right? Ethereum it's still pretty expensive in terms of like gas.
Yeah, I mean, doing a transaction on Ethereum is typically going to cost you like I don't know, like how much you would spend on lunch or something. Like if I want to spend like $8 or
Chipotle,
something. Yeah,
Chipotle
exactly.
meal or something like that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the true unit of account. uh, yeah,
yeah,
that's one of the things that's really awesome about Arbitrum as well, and layer twos that are snappier. Is the user experience is good now. So with Ethereum, not only is it expensive, but with a 15-second block time and congestion of the network, oftentimes you'll wait multiple blocks for a transaction to get settled on chain, and so we're talking about like a minute, and you'll see transactions revert and fail, and you'll still have to spend that gas money for that failed transaction, which again, that's like not a good experience, especially if you're trying to trade a moving market. So with networks like Arbitrum, now you can swap, you can have transactions land on chain, settle in a matter of seconds, uh, you know, close to free. And yeah, you know, with 0x, you're able to tap into the dozen or so different liquidity sources on Arbitrum and kind of do all of that so quickly. It feels pretty magical.
Yeah. I actually, yeah, so I did a few swaps on matcha. And I love like how much support you guys added in terms of like, bridging from one chain to another. Um like and then I saw it was like under a minute, which is pretty amazing to see. And the the way it was aggregated was through a cross protocol, which is a bridge that supports Arbitrum. So no, I think it's awesome that you guys have strongly supported like Arbitrum bridges, and yeah, it's awesome to see that.
Yeah, well, we're here, and we're continuing to invest in having a better coverage across the Arbitrum ecosystem. Yeah, again, like we've kind of almost maxed out our coverage of decentralized exchanges on Arbitrum. We again support over 99% of liquidity that exists on the Arbitrum network, but we're always looking to find ways to support new routes, new liquidity sources, and yeah, oftentimes that's necessary to kind of support more of the kind of Arbitrum centric projects out there that have unique liquidity pools that are like maybe a little bit more niche. But yeah, coverage on Arbitrum is looking really good.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. That's awesome. And I think like one of the big narratives right now are L3s, right? Right, Arbitrum has Arbitrum Orbit, which enables anybody to pretty much deploy their own chain within minutes using Arbitrum Stack, right? And you also have, right, the super chain. You have ZK Sync with their Elastic chains, right? So now talking about like cross chain, are you guys looking to support L3s?
Yeah, so that's something that we're still waiting and watching. So historically we've tried to let users kind of guide where we focus our attention and where we invest. So yeah, kind of seeing the trends, seeing what is capturing users' attention and kind of getting traction. And with L3s, it seems like pretty promising. Um, yeah, I know of a number of L3 networks that have decent traction. At the same time, it feels like we're still kind of exploring as an ecosystem how how L3 networks can kind of onboard people and make that like a really smooth experience. Having to bridge into an L3 and then I'm not sure exactly what the constraints are for each different L3 kind of architecture out there, but having kind of like a withdrawal delay and stuff, I think this is something that we're still kind of figuring out how to make that a really smooth experience and figure out if it's something that people really want. Um, but yeah, I think ultimately we are headed towards a more and more multi-chain ecosystem, and there probably will be hundreds of different networks out there that are being used for a variety of either general purpose or specialized use cases. Yeah, I know that. There's you know in the Arbitrum ecosystem, there's gaming specific networks and so forth. So yeah, I mean, we as a team, our objective is to make it possible for anyone to easily access any token at the best possible price. And so that means we need to go where users are. And it seems like L3s have a lot of promise.
Yeah, I think right now with Arbitrum Orbit, at least, there's about I think we've hit like I think 60. There's 60 announced orbit chains. And there's already I think 15 on mainnet, which is crazy to see. And I think if you go on L2 Beat right now, Yeah, most of the chains that have the highest TVL are chains that are using Arbitrum Orbit. So you have like Senko, you have Degen Chain, XI, Proof of Play, which are focused on gaming, NFT, social, DeFi. So I think it's pretty interesting to see that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, so just generally speaking, yeah, kind of like our long-term thesis is that all forms of value are going to end up tokenized on public blockchains. And so we think there are going to be billions of tokenized assets ranging from traditional kind of traditional assets like stocks and bonds, fiat currencies, startup equity. And yeah, I mean, even back in 2017, we were confident, we had high conviction that video game items would end up tokenized and airline miles and really anything that you can assign value to that lives in the digital domain. And so, yeah, our mission is to eliminate the complexity of accessing those tokens and liquidity. Uh, wherever the tokens and users are, you'll be able to find them on Matcha. And yeah, another consideration too is that given Matcha is a DEX aggregator, and one of the things that's really powerful about Matcha is our brand new routing engine, uh, where we're able to tap into, yeah, I mean, even dozens of different liquidity pools and DEXs and kind of weave it together to get the best price. Um, it really we're able to offer the most value to users when there are a variety of different decentralized exchanges or kind of market fragmentation. And so, yeah, I think like with L3 networks, especially as they get more traction and kind of more DEXs deploy there, that's when we'll be able to really go in and offer users not only like in my opinion, like one of the best user experiences in the Web3 space, but also be able to deliver much better pricing than what they would otherwise be able to get. Um, yeah, and so another thing that's pretty exciting about the new routing engine that we just launched this week is the price competitiveness. So if you go and you check out Matcha today, what you'll find is that you're gonna get a better price than the other kind of leading DEX aggregator out there. You're going to get a better price on Matcha around 90% of the time across all trade sizes. And this took a ton of work. This is like a highly technical R&D effort that played out over the last 9 months. And shipping it this week was super, exciting. Also, a massive relief to get it in the hands of users. And so, yeah, like you can go and check it out on Matcha. One of the things that's really exciting about it is that you can visualize the routes that Matcha is finding for you within a cool looking routing diagram, called a Sankey diagram, and can show you the power of the routing. It is able to multiplex, which means take your order and split it into chunks and send it to different liquidity pools. It's also able to multi-hop, which means you are able to take a trade or an order and to hop through intermediate liquidity pools to get to the output token, the desired token you're buying. And also able to combine these different actions together to create really complex and visually beautiful routing diagrams that aren't just beautiful, but also happen to get you way better pricing than you would be able to get alternatively. And yeah, especially on Arbitrum, where the gas costs are low, and doing this type of complex routing, it costs gas. So every additional liquidity pool that you hop through is going to add some gas cost to the trade. Of course, that's accounted for in the routing. But with networks like Arbitrum, where the gas costs are so low, you can get these really complex and sophisticated routes, even for trades that are relatively, normal size. Like you go and trade $100 of USDC for ARB, you might end up routing through 3, 4, or 5 different liquidity pools. Because yeah, the price improvement you get there more than offsets any gas costs from that complex routing. So yeah, definitely would encourage everyone to go and check it out. It is really cool to get to see the routing in action, and you're also, you are going to get the best pricing in the space using Matcha today.
Yeah, no, it looks so beautiful. Shout out to devs that worked so hard on this.
Indeed, yeah, go dev.
Yeah, bullish on devs at Matcha and OX. Well, I know we're at the end, so Will, I want to give you an opportunity to share any final thoughts. If not, then we can close it out here.
Yeah, final thought. So first of all, just appreciate everyone coming in and taking a listen. Yeah, understand y'all probably have a lot going on. Yeah, if you want to save time, want to save money, get the very best DEX prices without having to sacrifice on the UX, check out Matcha at matcha.xyz. You'll be able to find every single ERC20 token that exists on the Arbitrum One network, as well as all of the different DEXs and liquidity sources that exist being woven together to get you the best average price. It combines public on-chain liquidity with private liquidity from professional market makers. And yeah, we really put a lot of love into the product, and hope it delights you. So give it a shot. We really appreciate it.
Sweet. Well, yeah, thank you, Will, for joining us today. Appreciate everything that you guys have done so far for the Arbitrum ecosystem. And yeah, to everybody else listening in, thank you guys so much. And yeah, see you guys soon. GN, and yeah, have a good day wherever you are across the world. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you so much for taking the time.